No threes.
Just switch it back. Switch it back. Switch it back.
What the heck? Oh my God.
Damn it.
You gotta hit this shot. You gotta score here.
Oh
no.
That's not a foul.
Free throw.
Oh
my God.
No.
No way. Not him. Not him. Not after tonight. Oh
my goodness.
This series is so ridiculous. And really just a lot of other playoff series also going on right now. But I decided I wanted to focus on Lakers Nuggets specifically in today's video, just because I feel like that's just going to be enough content on its own. And also just the fact that I cannot believe what I'm seeing. If you missed the video a couple days ago where I was basically just talking about every game won on the first day of the NBA playoffs, I made it clear that I expected the Denver Nuggets to win this series in 5 games. And here we are after game 2. And this is what we're looking at. A series in which one team looks significantly better than the other, while also not even playing great basketball for an entire game. Similar to game 1, the Lakers came out with an emphasis on just being aggressive early on. D'Angelo Russell was actually hitting his threes today, which was one of the biggest factors in the Lakers being able to build a lead against the Denver Nuggets this time. D'Lo shot 1 for 9 from 3 in game 1. He was 6 for 7 in the first half of game 2. But also on top of that, the Lakers made it an emphasis to put Jokic in every action, or almost every action, with Anthony Davis. And the result was possibly the best half of his playoff career, or at least of his recent playoff career. 11 for 12 from the field in the first half, and it wasn't just like dunks and just getting to the rim. He was giving him post fades, hook shots, spot up shots from the nail, like whatever way you can imagine inside the 3-point line. That's how Anthony Davis was scoring on Nikola Jokic in the first half. And it really didn't look like the Denver Nuggets were countering this very well, which was surprising considering that it's an action that the Lakers run a lot of, basically just LeBron and Anthony Davis actions, and they couldn't really stop it just because of the shot making from Anthony Davis. On the Nuggets side of things in that first half, Jamal Murray was just taking shots. And this was something that I talked about last game, where he had some plays where it looked like he was trying to do too much, but it was even more so in game 2, where he's just taking off-balance shots, off-balance floaters when he doesn't even really have it going. And it was just a really bad half to watch from Denver. And then the second half hits, and it is more of the same to start the third quarter. More LeBron and Anthony Davis pick and rolls, which eventually kind of opened up the offense for everybody else. Austin Reeves hits a wing 3 to extend the lead to 20 points. But that's where it got interesting, because one of the Nuggets' main adjustments for the Lakers in the second half was putting KCP on LeBron as the primary defender and putting Aaron Gordon as the primary defender on Anthony Davis on some plays. And basically what this did was it completely blew up a lot of the things that they were trying to do and were successfully doing in the first half, mainly just because of the screen navigation of KCP. There were so many plays throughout that second half where it literally looked like the screen wasn't even there. Like he was literally just walking around it. And so you have that. But then you also have the fact that Aaron Gordon on Anthony Davis is a tougher matchup just because Aaron Gordon is more athletic and more mobile than Nikola Jokic. So it's a little bit easier for him to stay with AD. Those two things combined basically made it so that the LeBron Anthony Davis actions that they were running mainly in the first half and to start the third quarter were no longer a viable option just because they couldn't get anywhere with them anymore. And so that was really all the Nuggets needed to start to put a run together. And if we know anything about this Denver Nuggets team, is that if they find a weakness, you are in trouble, because they are going to execute on offense, especially when they start getting out in transition a lot. And so we started to see that. Also, Nikola Jokic was a lot more aggressive in the second half. As I said before, he had just 5 shot attempts in the first half compared to his 11 in the second, which he made 6 of 11. A lot of those being post plays against Anthony Davis because he's literally just bigger than him. Like there became a point where it almost started to look like a mismatch, even though it's Anthony Davis, who by the way was snubbed from Defensive Player of the Year finalists, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, he just started getting whatever he wanted wanted. Jokic's stat line, I wish that fantasy was still going on because I need to see how many fantasy points this would actually be. 27 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals, and overall in the second half, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists after he kind of figured out that he needed to be way more aggressive than he was in the first half. Absolutely insane. And while we're on the topic of second half performances, we need to mention Jamal Murray, because this man was about to have one of his worst playoff games of his career had he not picked it up. He was 3 for 16 from the field going into the fourth quarter, but as most people know by now, the second that you let Jamal Murray get out of a slump, you are done. We saw this funny enough in game 2, the last time these two teams faced off in last year's playoffs, where he had a pretty underwhelming shooting night, and then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, he is just outplaying everybody on the floor. I believe he had 22 points in the fourth quarter of game 2 last season. This time, he was 6 for 8 from the field, 14 points, and had what could turn out to be the 2 most important shots of the entire series. A game-tying shot with 30 seconds left, and then of course, the walk-off over Anthony Davis. There really wasn't anything noteworthy that changed here. It was just him getting better looks. The Lakers don't really have anybody for him. Gabe Vincent got a lot of fourth quarter minutes on Jamal Murray, but that's about it, I would say. They really don't have any other guard defenders outside of him. Austin Reeves has sort of regressed this season compared to last year. There's D'Angelo Russell, there's Taurean Prince, who has a lot of issues navigating screens, which is a horrible issue to have against the Denver Nuggets, who run a lot of off-ball actions, off-ball screens, things like that. And so they don't really have anybody for him. And that's kind of why I said a couple days ago that I thought that he would bounce back in game 2. And of course, he ends up shooting the exact same percentage, 9 for 24. But I feel like it showed a lot of people the reality of this Denver Nuggets team, which people already knew, but I feel like it's even more confirmed at this point, is that the Denver Nuggets are becoming that team, or perhaps have already become that team, where you literally need to play a perfect game to beat these guys. Because there were a few points during the game where I was sitting there like, yeah, they're up 15, but like, if Denver just is able to get a couple stops, go on an 8-0 run, then they're probably gonna win this game. And I feel like they are one of those teams that can just flip that switch. I know that some people believe that the switch just always needs to be on, especially in playoff time. The Denver Nuggets very clearly flipped a switch. The mistakes from the first half were basically non-existent in the second. They made all the correct adjustments. They started getting going right at the right time. And it's just, I wouldn't say that nobody can beat this team 4 times, because there are some very tough teams that could give them a very great matchup. OKC, I didn't list them last video, I forgot. Sorry about that. OKC could give them a tough time, but again, they're young, so that's yet to be seen. Minnesota could give them a really tough time, although they're not the best offensive team, so that would be a concern. And of course, the Boston Celtics, who I think have undoubtedly the best chance to win the title this season other than Denver. I was watching the game with Legend of Winning, as you guys saw at the start of the video. I went and hopped over to Dom 2K's playback room for a bit, and he was basically saying that the Nuggets are perhaps the funniest team in the NBA because of everything that I just described. Like, it can look like they're not even trying for half the game, and then all of a sudden just say, all right, we're doing this, and this, and we're gonna try to win the game, I guess. Good luck. And it's just, I feel like that's when you know for sure that you have a very tough team on your hands. And it's gonna be interesting to see kind of just what happens from this point forward. Jared Vanderbilt is set to come back in game 3, or at least he's rumored to come back in game 3. I don't know what that is gonna mean, because you have to remember that Jared Vanderbilt was basically played off the floor last year when these guys played, and so we'll have to wait and see. But other than that, I'm pretty sure the Nuggets just won this series based off of this game, just because of the manner in which they won it. And even then, even though the Lakers have not beat this team in their last 10 times matching up, this is one of the most entertaining matchups in the playoffs so far. But that's about it from me. If you want to hear my thoughts on some other series, I made a video a couple days ago just talking about every game 1 that had happened on the first day of the season. So Lakers, Nuggets, Knicks, Sixers, Magic, Cavs, and Minnesota, Phoenix. So you can watch that right here. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new, hit the bell to be notified when I upload. Comment down below what you want to see next. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.